This is a story about 6 Pokémon trainers who discover that the biggest obstacle to defeating their enemy wasn't the enemy at all. It was learning to respect each other's different ideas long enough to realize that every single one of them was needed. Created by Tristan and his daddy. Have you ever been in the middle of something with a friend, a game, a plan, a big decision, and suddenly realized that you two were not seeing it the same way at all? Maybe your stomach dropped a little. Maybe you felt a flash of something hot and sharp, like, why don't they just agree with me? That feeling is real, and it has a name. And today, we're going to talk about it. The feeling we're talking about today is called disagreement, and it lives in your chest, right behind your ribs, like a tight squeeze. Sometimes it makes your jaw go stiff. Sometimes it makes your hands curl up. It's the feeling that happens when someone thinks something different from you, and your brain shouts, they're wrong. But here's the thing. Just because something feels wrong, doesn't always mean it is. Here's something important, and a little surprising. Easy things will never help you grow. Not once. When everything goes your way, when everyone agrees, when there's no friction at all, your brain just floats along. It doesn't build anything new. It's the hard moments, the ones where you have to stop, listen, and stretch, those are the ones that make you stronger. Disagreement is one of those hard things. And today, we're going to learn how to use it. Now, meet 6 friends. Tristan, Kenzo, Christopher, Jackson, Gio, and Nicholas. They're 7 years old, they're Pokémon trainers, and they've just arrived at the Golden Gate Bridge on the most important mission of their lives. Word has spread through the Pokémon world, 2 incredibly powerful Pokémon, Gyarados and Alakazam, have taken over the bay. The bridge is shaking, the water is churning, and the only way to stop them is if these 6 trainers and their 6 Pokémon work together. Each trainer calls out their Pokémon. Tristan calls Mewtwo. Kenzo calls Charizard. Christopher calls Dragonite. Jackson calls Blastoise. Gio calls Geodude. And Nicholas calls Blaziken. 6 Pokémon appear on the bridge, powerful, ready, glowing with energy. But then something unexpected happens. Before the trainers can even make a plan, the Pokémon start arguing. Charizard surges forward. It wants to go after Gyarados first, full speed, fire blazing. But Mewtwo blocks the path. Mewtwo thinks they should stop and make a plan before anyone moves. Charizard growls. Mewtwo narrows its eyes. The 2 Pokémon face each other on the bridge, neither one budging, and both of them absolutely certain that they are right. Kenzo watches Charizard and feels his own chest tighten. Come on, just go, he thinks. Tristan watches Mewtwo and nods slowly, he gets it. Both boys are watching their Pokémon do exactly what they themselves would do. And that's when Jackson says quietly, they're not fighting because one of them is wrong. They're fighting because they both think they're right. Swap card, instead of, stop arguing, one of you just needs to listen. Try this, you both have a point. Can we hear both ideas before we decide? Meanwhile, on the other side of the bridge, Blastoise and Dragonite are having their own disagreement. Dragonite wants to fly out over the bay and spot where Gyarados and Alakazam are hiding before anyone attacks. Blastoise wants to set up a defensive wall of water right now, so the bridge is protected first. Neither one is wrong. They're just thinking about different parts of the problem, and neither one is listening to the other. Christopher watches Dragonite and feels proud. Of course, scouting first makes sense. Jackson watches Blastoise and feels the same way. Of course, protecting the bridge is the priority. They look at each other. Neither boy says a word for a moment. Then Christopher says, what if Dragonite scouts, and Blastoise covers while Dragonite's gone? Jackson's eyes go wide, not because Christopher was right, but because he hadn't thought of that. And neither had Blastoise. Over with Gio and Nicholas, their Pokémon are disagreeing too. Geodude wants to smash straight through the base of the bridge support to draw Gyarados out of the water. Blaziken wants to use speed and precision, quick strikes, fast movement. Geodude is all power, Blaziken is all agility. Gio shrugs with a grin, Geodude's never been subtle. Nicholas laughs, and then gets serious. But subtle might be exactly what we need right now. Swap card, instead of, my way is better, yours will never work. Try this, both our ideas have something good in them. What do they have in common? And then, boom. Gyarados erupts from the bay. Massive, roaring. Its serpentine body coils around one of the bridge towers, water cascading off its scales, the whole bridge shaking. Alakazam appears on the bridge itself, eyes glowing, spoons raised, psychic energy rippling through the air. The disagreements among the Pokémon freeze. Every trainer and every Pokémon turns to face the threat. The real challenge has arrived. For a second, nobody moves. 6 Pokémon, each one with a different opinion about what to do. 6 trainers, each one with a different instinct. And here's where something amazing happens. Because they had already practiced listening to each other, even when it was hard, they were ready for this moment. Tristan takes a breath and says, everyone's idea had something in it. Let's use all of them. The plan comes together fast. Dragonite takes to the sky, exactly like it wanted, and scouts the position of both Gyarados and Alakazam. Blastoise plants its feet and raises a powerful water barrier along the bridge edge, exactly like it wanted. 2 Pokémon, 2 different ideas, both needed at the same time. The bridge stops shaking for just a moment, and there's room to breathe. Next, Blaziken moves. Fast, precise, exactly like Nicholas said, darting toward Alakazam with flickering kicks, keeping Alakazam busy, breaking its concentration. Then Geodude charges, all power, all force, exactly like Geo said, crashing into Gyarados' coiled tail with a massive strike that loosens its grip on the bridge tower. Power and precision, working together. Not instead of each other, with each other. Swap card, instead of, fine, we'll do it your way then. Said in a resentful tone, try this, let's try both, your part first, then mine, and see what works. Now it's Charizard and Mewtwo's turn, the 2 who started it all. Mewtwo had wanted a plan first, and they'd use one. Charizard had wanted to charge with full power, and now was exactly the right moment. Mewtwo uses its psychic energy to lift Gyarados high into the air, and Charizard unleashes the most powerful fire blast the Bay has ever seen. Together, the 2 most stubborn Pokémon on the bridge deliver the finishing move. Gyarados crashes into the bay with a thunderous splash. Alakazam's spoons clatter to the bridge. The psychic energy fades. The shaking stops. The water calms. 6 Pokémon stand on the Golden Gate Bridge, all of them breathing hard, all of them victorious, each one having done exactly what they believed in. And it worked because none of them had to give up who they were. They just had to make room for each other. The 6 trainers look at their Pokémon, then at each other. Geo is beaming, eyebrows sky high. Nicholas nods slowly, hands at his sides. Christopher has the quietest smile. Jackson uncrosses his arms for the first time all day. Kenzo lets out a long breath. And Tristan says what they're all thinking, we almost messed it all up arguing. But the arguing, that's actually what helped us figure out the best plan. Here's what the Pokémon taught us today, and what you can keep in your toolbox. The first tool is called the pause and repeat. When someone disagrees with you, before you respond, pause. Then repeat back what they said, so what you think is. This tells your brain to actually hear the other person, not just wait for your turn to talk. It feels a little awkward at first. That's how you know it's working. Swap card, instead of, that's a bad idea. Try this, so what you're saying is underscore. Can you tell me why you think that? The second tool is called the and swap. Whenever you want to say but, swap it for and. Instead of I hear you, but I think you're wrong, try I hear you, and I also see it this way. That tiny word change keeps the other person's idea alive in the conversation. It says, your idea doesn't have to disappear for mine to exist. Both can be real. Both can matter. Charizard and Mewtwo figured that out, right on the Golden Gate Bridge. So the next time you feel the tight squeeze in your chest because someone sees it differently than you, remember, that feeling is telling you something important. It's telling you that you care. And caring is a good place to start. Feel it. Let yourself notice the disagreement without jumping. Name it, I'm frustrated because we see this differently. Tame it, pause, repeat what they said, swap but for and. Try it, stay in the conversation even when it's hard. That's how you grow. That's how teams win. And somewhere in the San Francisco Bay, 6 Pokémon and 6 trainers already know that. We'll see you in the next one.